Welcome, everybody. Thursday, September 5th. John Aravosis here. Summer's over. I just realized it's September. I'm like forgetting this. Summer's over. I'm not happy about this. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Justin camera. Well, good enough. Ugh, this camera. The position of the camera always drives me crazy. I think it's good enough. Let me go live on TikTok. There we go. Ooh, I'll try not to yawn. I took a nap and the dog woke me up early because she was hungry, as she does. And I did not just have coffee, so I will not be as hyper as I was yesterday. Anyway, as I choke. Oh boy. Anyway, hello TikTokers, hello YouTubers. How's everybody doing today? Cheers, glass of water. Oh boy. Oh boy. Thank you for the gift running on coffee. What's going on, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Alan, for the gift. Hey, Ash. Howdy, Dave in Halifax. Hi, Sean, emphatically. Hey, Lamb Chop. Hey, cool. How's everybody doing today? Thursday. That's good news. Elizabeth, thank you for the gift. West Chicago. Oh, west of Chicago. Hey, Louis. Thank you, Neil, for the rock star. You know I love that one. I am good, Jacob. How are you? Ukraine's doing okay in Russia. We'll talk about that today. Thank you, Succeed, for the gift. Yeah, so thank you, Stephen, for the tiny. I'm going to yawn at you guys today. Oh, thank you, User 336, for the gift. I was going to do coffee and I didn't. Thank you, running on coffee. Speaking of coffee. Oh, that's the Lucky Spray. Okay, I was wondering what that was. I saw like show up down here. I was curious what that gift was. Very curious. So, all right, welcome, guys. So, thank you, Jen. This is my show, as you all know. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine. We talk about the election news. Hey, Thomas in Scotland. And Sue for the rose. Thank you. Hey, Ty. Marianne. It's weird having Marianne here. I'm just not used to you being live. Oh, and Gremlin saying something, and I'm going to guess Irish. Maybe Welsh, but probably Irish is my guess, since I can't figure out what the hell it says. Hey, Jen. Oh, that's okay. So that's the little Lucky Spray. Okay, it's like a little perfume thing going off. Hey, Jeff in the UK. Allison in Maine. Anyway, so welcome, guys. So you know how the show works. I'll have a quick sip of water. We'll get rolling. This is my daily show I do. Thank you, Aviation. Talking about the latest news from Ukraine. We also talk about the latest news from the U.S. election. My background is U.S. politics. Thank you, Magical, for the gift. I've, like, forever worked 40 years in Washington, D.C. in politics. Have background in foreign policy, also a lot of domestic politics, and basically have, like I said, been in Washington almost the last 40 years, doing all sorts of political jobs, from working in the U.S. Senate, working at the World Bank, United Nations in New York, lots of advocacy groups in Washington, and lots of political advocacy overall. So I think I know something about politics, and hopefully the idea of the show is to give you some updates on what's going on with Ukraine and the U.S. election, but from a perspective of somebody who hopefully has a little bit more knowledge of what's going on and can answer your questions and explain it a little more in deep. That's the goal. Thank you, Charles, for the gift. Thank you, John S. Please do keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living, and your gifts help pay the bills and help me keep doing it. We've been doing this for 2.5 years now. I am very proud. Every night, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S. So let's get rolling. Quick reminder, we've got our coffee talk, or coffee talk, as we say for the TikTokers. Thank you, Adventures in Kim, Saturday morning. I do a special show every Saturday morning for the paid subscribers on TikTok and the paid members on YouTube as a thank you for supporting my work with a membership. If you guys want to join us, you can become a subscriber now. The mods can tell you how. It's sort of on the page in front of you, but basically means you get to donate once a month. And at the very least, every Saturday, I have a private show just for you guys. And during the week when I've got time, I also do private shows. Actually, we have decided I am going to do the debate hangout for paid subscribers. No offense, everybody, but I got to give sort of a credit to the paid guys. I've got to give them sort of a bonus. So we're going to make the election night for the paid subscribers. Sorry, no offense, anybody, but as I said, we gotta pay the bills. Thank you, Chezak, Mikey, Randall, Jorge for multiple gifts. High Tide, Adventures, Kim. So I want to thank a lot of the gift people. John S., Charles, Aviation. I think I got the gifts here. Aviation, yep. Okay. All right, guys, let's get rolling. Let's start first with, thank you, TikTok Uncle. No trolls. Yeah, no trolls debate night. Yeah, so the debate is happening next Tuesday night. Basically, Kamala Harris will be debating Trump. They did agree to the rules. Thank you, High Tide, for the gift, and Kathy Story. They did agree to the rules for the debate. They are having it. Harris's team says that she's actually a little upset that this is sort of interesting. They were having this debate about whether the microphone should be turned off. The idea was when one person, when your time is over, your 2 minutes or whatever, your mic shuts off and the other person speaks. And if the mic shuts off, it stops the other person from interrupting you. Now, originally, the Biden people wanted this because Trump is kind of an animal, and it stopped Trump from just talking over, Biden, et cetera, right? This kind of stuff. Well, Harris's people keep, now mind you, it could be a psychological game they're doing. They keep arguing that they wanted the mics turned on because it made it easier for them to fact check each other. I think what's going on here, if Harris's team is being honest about this, meaning if they're not playing kind of a game, right? If they really wanted the mics to be on, they think, thank you, Randall, they know what would happen. The mics would not be on with them fact checking each other. The mics would be Donald Trump being an 800-pound gorilla, right? Lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's not true. You're a nasty woman, you're a nasty woman. I think they want him to do that. I think that's what's going on. They want him to basically make an ass of himself, and they think it's going to benefit them with the voters. Trump can't do that if the microphone cuts off and he's not making any sound. So just sort of an interesting thing. Harris is ahead by 3.2 percentage points nationally per the 538 poll of polls. Remember, poll of polls are basically when you look at all the polls, either for one state or nationally, and you aggregate them together. It helps to, in principle, iron out any errors in the polling by having them all together. So according to all the national polls, she's ahead by 3.2 percentage points. But the deal is that doesn't mean she's winning. That's within the margin of error, more or less. So you've got to keep in mind that, as I said, just because one person's ahead of the other by 3 points, statistically, it's still a tie. Because polls are not super accurate. They're accurate, but they're usually inaccurate to within 3 percentage points, basically 2 or 3 points. Meaning, if it shows Harris at, what did we say here? Did I give the actual number? I didn't give the actual number. I think her number might have been 49%. If she's at 49%, she could be at 52. She could be at 46. So you don't know. So you don't want to take these polls as meaning, oh, she's going to win, woo-woo. What you do want the polls to mean is Biden was going to lose and she has a chance, which is good. Thank you, Jonathan, for the gift. Thank you, Randy and family, Larissa, Catherine. So I think some of the gift folks here, Randall, Marcia, and World is My Oyster. I think I'm caught up with you guys. Thank you. All right, a little more here. The Trump election subversion case. This is interesting. So honestly, I have a hard time keeping track of these cases. Thank you, Bjorn, for the gift. There's so many indictments of Trump, right? He was already found guilty of 34 felonies. There's just so much. But on the election subversion case, which is a lot of different things of him trying to, overthrow the election, steal the election, convince states like Arizona and states like Georgia to literally throw out their votes and fake the vote for him and all sorts of stuff. Thank you, Randall. They met in front of the judge today. You might remember we had a Supreme Court case a few months ago that really screwed things up for the rule of law, kind of let Trump off the hook on a lot of stuff. Thank you, Randy. And let me read this from CNN. Judge Tanya Chutkin set a schedule in the federal election subversion case against Donald Trump that will allow prosecutors to release never-before-seen evidence such as grand jury transcripts ahead of the presidential election. This is interesting. The deadline for the filing from prosecutors is September 26th. Our election is early November. So September 26th means 6 weeks before the election. According to the latest order from the judge, which largely sides with the special counsel, Trump's defense team had sought to delay the public release of the evidence until after the election. Of course they did. So this means that the prosecutor will be able to make his evidence public if he so chooses before the election. That's obviously good news for the American voters, good news for democracy. As I said, the debate is on. We already talked about that. JD Vance. So the last little story, I don't have a lot of election news today. Thank you, Denise, for the various gifts on TikTok. JD Vance, who's Donald Trump's running mate, who's always getting himself into trouble. He remember, he used to be like a super liberal, and now he pretends he's like a super Trumper. Well, he's definitely gone off the deep end of being a Trumper. He was interviewed by some like far right group yesterday and talked about his proposal for childcare. Now, I'm guessing Europe is probably the same way, or Asia, or wherever you guys are from. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Maddie. But childcare is very expensive for families, right? When you got both parents working, and they've got to put the kids in, somebody to take care of the kids, and they've got to pay for it. It can be like $12,000 a year. It can be even more than that. I mean, it can be $2,000 a month. It can be a lot more than $2,000 a month, right? Thank you, Marie, for the gifts. Thank you, Pedro. Well, JD Vance had a suggestion. Thank you, Kofi. He was asked about childcare and what his proposal for childcare was for helping women and families with kids, right, who are working. Quote, I need to get a JD Vance wig. One of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more, or maybe there's an aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens, you relieve some of the pressure on all of the resources you're spending on daycare. Thank you, Kofi. So JD Vance's big proposal as vice president to help solve the childcare crisis for working families is, have you considered asking your mom and dad or an aunt and uncle to help? What kind of idiot hasn't considered asking their mom or dad, grandpa or grandpa, for help taking care of the kids? You know what I mean? Like, on so many, it's rude. It's kind of sexist. He is an idiot, as far as what Alan just said. Obviously, I mean, I don't even have kids. I have nieces and nephews. I have witnesses. Obviously, the first thing you do is go to the grandparents, right? And say, I've got to go shop. I've got to go to the doctor. I've got to do this. Could you help take care of the kids, right? What kind of, I mean, my mom helped. My mom, retired, mom and dad, and my sister's kids would leave school nearby, and they would walk home. And because my sister was working till like 5 o'clock or something, they would come spend the afternoon, the hour and a half at my mom's house. Obviously, right? I mean, there's several problems here. First of all, just the idiocy of, again, he's so out of touch with the American. Remember, he went to buy donuts and he got confused. People keep saying it's like his programming went wrong. His like AI, the JD Vance AI screwed up, because he was like, donut, crystal, sprinkles, yeah, those things, give me those things, what do people like? It was like, dude, you don't know what kind of donut. I mean, this is America, by the way. Everybody knows what kind of donut they like, right? Literally nobody goes, whatever people like. Literally, I'd be like, I want yeast, I want chocolate, and then get an assortment for everybody else, but you better have yeast and chocolate, right? I would say it like a normal human being. He got all weird. The notion that he thinks he's giving you some great advice, like, I have the solution to childcare. Ask a relative if they can help take care of the kids. Again, like, really? You never thought of that? The other problem is, as Chezek, I think, just said, not everybody lives near their parents, right? Not everybody has parents nearby who can take care of the kids. Also, frankly, that's kind of a big ask, right? Every single day, taking care of the kids when your parents are retired, like every day? That's kind of a lot. I mean, again, if you can swing it in your family, but it just blew my mind. It just blew my mind. Literally like, oh, I've got a secret proposal to solve the childcare crisis. It's secret. Nobody knows. Nobody's thought of it before. Ask your mom if she'll help. Oh, he's so amazing. Anyway, hey, I'm right. Thank you for gifting a membership over on YouTube. It's not going to show me who got it. It's being evil today. But thank you for doing that. I'm sure it threw it on somebody's profile. Oh, there we go. DJ Coffee Nail, you were gifted a gift membership from Emroy, which means you can join our Saturday show which this weekend will be 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, 10:30 a.m. Central time. So yeah, that was nice. That was nice of you, Emery. Thank you for that. Anyway, drives me crazy. Thank you, Alan, for the gifts. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Martin. Let's move over to Ukraine. So Russia. The Russians got caught. This is fascinating. No, that's the lemonade. Oh, so the lemonade comes with a light on the head. Oh, that's the coffee magic. Oh, that's the coffee magic. Interesting, Marsha. Okay, I thought that was lemonade. Maybe it's the light bulb going off like the coffee is inspiration, maybe, I'm guessing, which does work for me. Well, this is fascinating Russian story. Exactly, 10 million, Scott. The U.S. government has indicted a number of people because the Russians were funneling $10 million to MAGA social media stars to basically attack America and defend Russia's views. The names of the social media stars have not been released. But the public, I will say this, for example, CBS News wrote that 3 of the names being discussed are Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson. I am not going to say definitively because we don't know. The indictment basically gave the service that was paid. Like it's called Tenet or something. This company that houses a lot of them for their podcasts and this kind of stuff, their video blogs, and the indictment mentioned the exact number of followers they had on that system, which matched up with Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, and Benny Johnson. But again, it's not definitive. So CBS suggested they thought one guy they knew for sure, and it was 10 cent. Thank you, 10 cent. Oh, 10 cent. I thought it was Tenet. Thank you, Residual. 10 cent. That's cute. So in any case, these guys are top MAGA social media people. Several of them were allegedly being paid off by the Russians. Now, the allegation says that they didn't know they were Russian dupes. It was being funneled through some, basically, the way you sort of set things up when you're trying to hide taxes in the Cayman Islands. There was like all these different shell groups. Then they funneled the money through an American company in Tennessee, which funneled the money to this 10 cent organization that was paying these guys. Well, some of these guys were getting paid $400,000. Listen to this, guys. $400,000 a month to do 4 videos a week talking about topics the Russians wanted them to talk about. 4 videos a week for $400,000. That's $50,000 a video, guys. That's like me doing the show and getting $50,000, which, by the way, Russia, if you're listening, incredible, absolutely incredible. They were talking about a lot of different topics. The Russians wanted them to talk about immigration, inflation, Ukraine, of course. Interestingly, which kind of makes sense, actually, what Putin was doing was he would get them, somehow he gave them talking points, which means also they were like bought to talk about stuff. He got them talking points to talk about the issue in a way that agreed with Russia's position on the issue. The Russians were trying to get, and they did, succeed in paying off American MAGA people to talk about issues that divide America, basically that benefit, well, most of them were benefiting MAGA, not all of them. Thank you, PCNO, for subscribing. But that divided America because Putin was trying to, of course, he's trying to cause a civil war basically in the country. Really sick. Thank you, Blue Ariel, for gifting that sub. Really sick stuff. Well, how do you think Trump responded to the news that Russia is trying to influence our election? Okay? Secretly, illegally influence our election. What do you think Trump did? Did Trump blast Russia for attacking our election and our democratic process? No, Trump defended Russia. Donald Trump defended Russia. Trump today, in a post on his Truth Social forum, attacked Kamala Harris and the Justice Department, accusing both of trying to interfere and suppress the election by stopping the Russians from funding all these people. He called her Comrade Harris, like she's a communist. Donald Trump, who today defended the KGB colonel who runs Russia. Okay? Donald Trump, who's best friends with the communist dictator of North Korea, who like salutes them and stuff, says Kamala Harris is a communist because she and the Biden administration are trying to stop the Russians from interfering in our election and paying off MAGA people. Again, Donald Trump shows his true colors every freaking time. Every freaking time. Like I said, does Trump respond to the news that Russia is literally buying MAGA influencers with $10 million, $400,000 an influencer a month? Thank you, Ryan, for subscribing. Does he respond to it by saying, "Goddamn Russia, get the hell out of our election," right? I don't need your help. She doesn't need your help. No, Trump attacks the Biden administration for attacking Russia. Of course he does. Of course he does. And my favorite is he claimed, oh, this is part of the Russia lie. Dude, if you stopped defending Russia, the Russia lie would go away. The reason anybody talks about Russia is because you literally are like on your knees in front of Vladimir Putin praying. I'll say praying. For TikTok purposes, I'll say praying. You know? I mean, Trump is so deep in Vladimir Putin's pocket. He's so up Vladimir Putin's behind. It's not even funny. Okay? I mean, it's yeah. Russia. Yeah. Guilty. Yeah. No, the man's a traitor. He's a traitor. We know this. Thank you, Amber. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. All right, a little more news from Ukraine. This was funny today, too. So Vladimir Putin today, thank you, Amber, for subscribing, if I didn't say that, or if somebody got you the subscription, either way, on TikTok. Vladimir Putin claimed Kamala Harris was his preferred choice to win the U.S. presidency. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Stacey. He's lying, of course. He's doing this to divide. Actually, I was reading at Sky News, the experts were saying they actually think Vladimir Putin said this today in order to help Trump, that he knows that because of all the controversies in the U.S., that whoever he endorses, it will look bad for them. So the thought is he's endorsing Kamala Harris because he wants to hurt her campaign because he needs Donald Trump, of course, because Trump works for him. He said, and of course, especially when you read the description of why he likes her, Putin is supporting Kamala Harris because he likes her infectious laugh. That right there tells you he's lying. He's saying it because Trump has been trying to make fun of Kamala Harris's laugh. So Putin is saying, oh, I love her laugh, to make the laugh at Trump. Putin is a KGB colonel. KGB was, it's Russia's version of the CIA, but calling it that really does a disservice to the CIA. They're not the CIA. The KGB were vicious killers. The Russian government, as Ronald Reagan said, the evil empire. The KGB were, brutal killers on behalf of an evil empire, right? It's a little different, but nonetheless, it just kind of made me laugh. Ukraine, let's switch over to Ukraine. The KGB were like the Gestapo. That's probably a good way of putting it. That is a good way of putting it. Jakarta. Yeah. Saying that they were like the Gestapo is a much better way. Simply calling them, well, they're spies. No, they weren't just spies. And again, anything the Russian do, like calling the Russian government, say, well, they're just another government like every other country. No, they're not. They're hegemonic dictators, hell-bent on world domination, war crimes, human rights violations, killing their neighbors, slaughtering their own citizens, jailing their own citizens for simply speaking their minds. It's a horrible dictatorial government. Again, Ronald Reagan called them an evil empire, and he was correct. And they still are. All right. And I'm not being paid $400,000 to say that. Having said that, if somebody wants to pay me $400,000 to say that, give me a call. So Ukraine, it is day 923 of Vladimir Putin's special military operation in Ukraine. Thank you, Wayne Judd, for the gifts. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Financial Times divulged today that the Indians have been helping the Russians violate sanctions. What a surprise. Thank you, C.S. Lowe. I'd be curious to get somebody on the show who's an India expert, but I mean, like, India is their life, to explain kind of what's going on. Thank you, PC Noel. It just feels like, thank you, C-Slow. India's playing both sides. They're playing the Russia side. They're trying to suck up to America more. But Financial Times reports that Russia has been secretly acquiring sensitive goods in India and explored building facilities in India to secure components for its war effort, according to Russian state correspondence seen by the Financial Times. Moscow's Industry and Trade Ministry, which oversees defense production to support Putin's full-scale war in Ukraine, drew up confidential plans in October 2022 to spend about $1 billion at the time on securing critical electronics through channels hidden from Western governments. India has been a major buyer of Russian crude oil, and the two countries' total trade reached an all-time high of $66 billion in the 2023-2024 financial year, a five-fold increase on the past year before the invasion. So India's been happy to take full advantage of the invasion and basically bail Russia out, which, not very good, right? If you're trying to be BRICS and you're trying to be the New World Order and you're the good guys, you're the developing countries who don't pick sides. You're the nice guys, right? You're not into world domination, except that India, of course, sends assassins around the world to murder dissidents, just like the Soviets, frankly, and just like Putin. And apparently they help genocidal dictators, genocidal white dictators, I should say, go and invade their neighbors and kill them. Isn't that nice? Good for you, India. Thank you, Jason, Captain. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Debbie. Russia has pulled over 60,000 troops to the Kursk Oblast to face Ukraine's invasion, according to President Zelensky. As you guys know, Ukraine has been invading for almost exactly a year, actually a month now. Tomorrow will be 1 month exactly. Ukraine invaded Russia, took a small plot of land, but a good plot of land, about 100 villages, and have been holding on to it, I think, in hopes of peace negotiations, saying we've got your land, we can negotiate for it. But Russia reportedly had to move 60,000 troops, according to the Ukrainians, from other fighting, which is good because it basically makes it harder for them to fight elsewhere. Thank you, Marsha, for the gift. Sky News. Sky News reporting on the British Ministry of Defense. The British Ministry of Defense says Russia's daily casualty rate has increased with Ukraine's invasion of its Kursk border region, partially the cause. In its latest intelligence briefing, the British Ministry of Defense cited Ukrainian military figures suggesting the average number of Russians killed and wounded increased to 1,187 a day in August. It added that Russia has likely suffered over 610,000 casualties during the war, and that the number is going to keep up in September. Now, you've got to remember that in military terms, a casualty does not mean a death. A casualty means a death or injury. So a soldier that's injured and taken out of the war, whether he's killed or injured, is counted as a casualty. So 610,000 casualties is still a huge number. But you got to keep in mind that's not all deaths. The deaths, they're not giving a death rate. The deaths could be 150,000, maybe 200,000, which is still a ginormous number. I mean, it's a horrific number for the Russians. But yeah, they're losing a lot of men. But again, the advantages of being a dictator is you don't care. You don't care if you kill your own people. You don't care if you kill your troops. Well, some American presidents don't care about that too, because they don't visit the troops. They don't go to the cemeteries because they don't want to get their hair wet after calling the American prisoners of war and killed in actions suckers and losers for joining the military. That would be Donald Trump. All right. The Russian advance near Pokrovsk. So Pokrovsk is the area in the east that the Russians have been attacking. It is a key town. It will benefit the Russians greatly if they can get this town in terms of consolidating power over eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian commander-in-chief says over the last 6 days, the enemy hasn't advanced a single meter in that region. That's good news. If the Russians are stuck, let's see, but that's good news. Romanian President Klaus Iohannis on September 5th signed a decree regarding the transfer of a Patriot missile system to Ukraine, giving final approval to the donation. That's great. So the Romanians are now sending a Patriot missile system to Ukraine to help, again, shoot down the incoming missiles and drones and everything else that are killing so many Ukrainians. Thank you, Evra. Thank you, Evra, again, for the chili on the rose. And finally, the Netherlands will buy new tanks, fighter jets, frigates, and air defense systems as it ups its defense spending by more than 10% next year. The Dutch government said it wanted to strengthen its forces in the face of new security threats, including Russia. All right, guys, that is it for the news today. That was pretty fast, actually. That was half an hour. Wow. So let's hang out and chat. Let's chat. Good question. David asked, does any of our military folks out there know Are lesser wounds considered a casualty? For example, I mean, if you're injured at all, I don't know, your hand is injured, your foot is injured, and your hand is injured and it's got to get wrapped up for a week. Is that a casualty? That's a good question. I don't know. See if anybody knows. Yes? So even minor injuries would be considered casualties. Mark and Jackson are saying relatively yes here. Well, piece of shrapnel isn't minor, though. I'm talking anything minor. Piece of shrapnel is a little more. Okay, that's what Chazak was saying. If you can't fight effectively, that's what I was thinking. Okay, yeah, and Frank says anything that hinders and incapacitates. There you go. So basically, something that takes you out of action for a while, basically. So it's got to be something that takes you out of action. Now, it could take you out of action for a week and you're back. Hey, Laura in Australia, good to see you. But okay, that's a good, that kind of makes more sense because I assumed that, oh, I see Edsel's here too. Edsel would know. I assumed it wouldn't simply be any minor injury. It's something that, again, as people said, affects your effectiveness on the battlefield or impacts it. Yep. Dawn says bone spurs don't count. Ouch. That's the excuse Donald Trump used to dodge the draft in Vietnam. Bone spurs. I don't know who Lichtman is. Your son's been a casualty 3 times. Yikes. Hopefully he's okay. MIA and POWs included in casualty reports. If they're, I would think they shouldn't be unless you know they're dead or injured. And if they're dead, they're not missing and they're not prisoners of action, right? My only thing would be if you knew a POW was injured, maybe, right? But I don't know whether the military would lump them together. You know? What else, guys? Gunther. What else we got, guys? Questions about my day? My day is good. My day was busy dealing with my mom's estate as always, but better now. Yes, the drones are dropping thermite. We do know that. I reported last night the Ukrainian drones are they have what they call dragon drones that are dropping basically molten metal on Russian troops. It's kind of wild stuff, man. Teresa, estates are headaches. I can verify that 100%. Thank you, Baby Lion. It's horrible. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's pretty bad. Thank you, Eileen. It's not fun. Every day is a new, like, oh God. Well, you know what it is? It's, I think, like, imagine all the stuff you do on a daily basis, paying your bills and everything, and all of a sudden it stops and somebody else takes over and you're going, okay, where are the bills? What are the bills? What do you pay? What bleh. You know, it's just like, oh God, it's a lot. It's a lot. We do have an estate attorney who I'm going to talk to at some point soon. They're just not fun. They're not fun. No, we're going to sell the house. Yeah. It's too much house for all of us, any of us really, you know? So anyway, what else we got? Yeah. DJ Coffin, I had mentioned earlier, I'll talk about it again. He was asking about Putin endorsing Kamala Harris, and basically Putin's trying to cause trouble. It's what he does. You know, one of the things he loves to do is just stir the pot. Just and this has been a big part of the Russian propaganda effort of the U.S. Thank you, Marsha. Is just get Americans angry at each other, get confusion, this kind of stuff. And he endorsed Kamala Harris today because he likes her infectious laugh. Now, the only reason you would mention Kamala Harris's laugh as Putin is, again, because you're trying to needle her, right? Because Trump keeps talking about how her laugh makes her look unpresidential and this kind of stuff. Now, so Putin does 2 things. Actually, thank you, Marsha, for the gift. Thank you, Frumple. He does 2 things by mentioning the laugh. A, he criticizes Donald Trump because Trump has been saying Kamala Harris's laugh shows she's not presidential, right? So Putin goes, I like her laugh, right? So he's criticizing Trump. At the same time, he's re-emphasizing she's got a funny laugh, which is a negative, I mean, in terms of what Trump's trying to do. No, he's very smart. So he's actually trying to make people talk about her laugh again, which some people consider negative, but also say Trump is wrong, which is going to make Trump angry. Yeah, he's messing with the elections. And actually, one analysis from Sky News said that Putin is probably doing it because he wants Trump to win, and he knows that anybody he endorses, it's going to hurt them. It's not going to help them, right? Well, actually, with MAGA, who knows? It may help you with MAGA if you get endorsed by evil dictators who hate America, because those are the guys they like. But thank you, Eileen, for the hearts, and the rose, and Frumple for hearts, and Marsha. And Spy Goose, thank you for, new money. Is that Bulgarian? I don't even know what that's from. Spy Goose, thank you for that. I've never seen that before, BGN. I don't even know what the Bulgarian money is. If it is, let me know. But thank you for that. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, I didn't see anything. It is Bulgarian. Ah, okay. What's the name of the currency? Just curious. It's kind of reverse psychology. And Lev. Oh, the Lev. Oh, that's funny. I've never heard that before. Okay. I'd like to go to Bulgaria. Sort of always, I mean, all the former Soviet things are of interest to me, and Eastern Europe in general, being Greek. But someday I've got to go. It's on the list. Thank you, Ellie. Or Eli, although you look like you're probably an Ellie. Oh, Barsha as well? Oh my God. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to yawn at you. Is Bulgaria safe? Somebody is asking over on TikTok. Spy Goose. I have certainly heard nothing bad about Bulgaria in terms of safety. Let's see what Spy Goose says, but I've never heard bad things. I don't know a lot of people who go there, to be honest. You know, what, Sofia is the capital, right? I think you just don't talk about Bulgaria much. It's funny. I even had to think about it for a second. I was like, I think it's Sofia. You just don't hear about the Bulgarians much. You guys need to get out there more. Build up your tourism. What else? The money looks sound in Bulgaria. Okay. Oh, people are talking football. You know, I cannot even vaguely help in any discussion about football. Just for the record, there's nothing I can do to add at all. Sofia, Bulgaria. Actually, that's true. Sofia, Bulgaria. That does. Someone said on TikTok, it sounds like a very pretty actress. Sofia, it's like Sophia Loren. Sofia, Bulgaria. Actually, saying like Bulgaria, sounds like Bulgari. It sounds like a diamond-studded actress, right? Sofia, Bulgaria. Oh, they're NATO. Oh, yeah, they're NATO. They're EU, too. A default Chiefs fan? Ugh. Turkey's leaving NATO? I would love for Turkey to leave NATO. I would, hardy, har. And then the Greeks can go invade Cyprus and get it back. Low-priced Riviera, that's interesting. Eric Nordstrom from Scandinavia, I think Sweden, says, or Norway maybe, I'm forgetting, recommend to go to non-tourist towns. I didn't feel it was unsafe. Was there this summer. Oh, okay. Oh, so the touristy towns were a bit much, but I guess that's the case in far too many places in Europe now, unfortunately. So what do you do, you know? Oh, yes, the Bulgarians admitted they shot down a Russian. Oh, excuse me. The Bulgarians admitted they shot down a Russian drone that entered their territory. That's true. Yeah, the Duluth, Michigan mug is back in DC, where I normally live, but I'm in Chicago for a few months. That was a gift from one of you, and I'm forgetting who it was. But it was a gift from one of you guys, and I'm totally I'm sorry, I'm spacing out as to who it was, but it was really sweet. One of the Minnesotans got me and it says it's really cute because it's a kitschy mug, but it's also really pretty. But it's a total kitsch. You know, it looks like a fridge magnet if you turned a refrigerator magnet into a coffee mug. It's really great. Yeah. I'll use it again, of course, once I get back to DC. Callum does confirm for us that anything that takes you out of action is a casualty. So that's what we were talking about. Yep. That makes sense. That makes sense. Turkey wants to join BRICS. You know what? Let them. I mean, I really like. I've kind of had it with Turkey. You know, they're like the Joe Manchin of countries. Like, let them. They want to join the bad guys. Let them. Turkey thinks. I mean, seriously, Turkey thinks it's better off using Russian weapons. Okay, good luck. You know, Turkey thinks it's. By the way, Turkey goes and leaves NATO, and then Greece has got an ironclad defensive NATO. Turkey does anything to Greece, and it's war with all of NATO. Right now, it's complicated because Turkey and Greece are both members of NATO. But they want to play that game, let them, as far as I'm concerned. Exactly, Marion. Yeah, Greece grabs the Bosporus. That would be pretty funny. Does Biden campaigning for Kamala help? I think so. He's still got star power. Nationally, he may not in a sense, but it depends. But I think we talked about this the other day. Democrats like Biden. You know, I thought he was too old. He is too old, right? But I don't dislike him. If Biden were at an event nearby and I knew it was easy to get in, I'd go. Kind of fun, right? He's still the president. I think Democrats like him. And actually, I think Democrats like him even more now because he stepped down. So now there is this kind of, he did it for the team and this kind of thing. So I don't see a negative. I guess the question would be whether in the news people see her with him and does it make independents turn against her somehow? I don't know. But correct, like Gunther just said, heavily Democratic districts, I think it would work. Thank you, Dave, for subscribing. Is that Dave Rubin? Dave Rubinsky? That would be a Russianization of his name. Blue sent a sub. Thank you, Blue. Oh, that was Blue who did it. Okay, thank you, Blue. We don't really know, Margot, about Harris in Ukraine. All we know is that her national security advisor is apparently more conservative than Biden's, which is a good thing, like harder on Russia, as is his number two. Beyond that, thank you, Marsha. Beyond that, we don't know because I mentioned this last night, she's in a position where she really can't talk about it. She cannot disagree with Donald Trump. That's the thing. Not Donald Trump, with Joe Biden, right? She can't disagree with Joe Biden. He's her boss, right? He's the president. So if she gets out there and says, we should be doing more for Ukraine, then she's disagreeing with Biden. That would be weird. She's definitely pro-Ukraine. I think literally, the first day of her administration is when we see if she wins, right? See what she announces about aid. See what she announces about peace plans. I mean, just see what approach she takes. And again, I want to see what approach she takes vis-a-vis Russia, because I hope it's tougher than Biden does. And again, Trump would be literally on his knees for Russia. So that's, Trump is worse. It's too bad. The Republicans used to be the ones you could count on to stand up to America's enemies. Not anymore. Thank you, Annette. Yes, Donald Trump did admit that he lost the election yesterday, Mike. We kind of mentioned that as kind of a sad thing that's news, but nonetheless. Thank you, Vicky. I know, Jake Sullivan. Oh, she would replace Jake Sullivan. That's Trump's guy. Oh, my arm is healed mostly. I've got like just one little mark from the horrible, nasty bugs. My God. We were getting these, my body's looking pretty good now. We were getting these horrible mites, these insects that you don't even see that go after cicadas. And they like land on you and you end up having like a thing, like a reaction like this I got to show you guys, a reaction this big on your skin. It was horrific. Thank you, Life. So yeah, I've gotten new bites from other bugs, but they're not spreading, which means they're not the mites, or the mites have changed somehow. I got like four new bug bites yesterday and I went, oh no, they're back, but it hasn't spread. So at least it's something else. I'm still not thrilled that I keep getting bug bites. Like I'm getting, I feel like there's a spider at night that's just like eating me, but Anyway, yeah, they're horrible. And they're not bed bugs. They're these they fall from oak trees, and you don't see them, except you have many people like me have such an allergic reaction to the bugs that you get like a red welt like this big from an infinitesimal bite you don't even see. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, they're horrible. So, yes, very, very bad. Oh wow, this is interesting. Oh, it lets me highlight viewers now. Well, that's kind of fun. Ooh, TikTok just gave me like new settings I can do. Well, this is kind of fun. Hold on. I'm gonna highlight the Star Trek mark just for fun. Quickly spot the viewers' actions in your live. Let's see. Did it throw it at the top? Let me see. No. What did I do? I tried to highlight it. It didn't highlight it. I tried to highlight somebody's little Star Trek comment, but I don't think it showed it. Oh, marked viewers. Hang on. Oh, if I click this, it only shows that person, Rich. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I'm not sure what the purpose is of that. I can highlight people and then toggle a switch. Watch this again with Rich, where only Rich pops in. Hi, Rich. That's kind of interesting. I'm intrigued by that. Huh. Okay, see you, Deb. So I want to look just for fun, like one more, since I'm like learning mark viewer, quickly spot the viewers' interactions in your lives. Oh, actually, I should say this. Wait a minute. This is interesting. Pin the comment. Oh, pin this comment. Reply to Danon. Mute the account. Comment settings. Oh, okay. Okay. It showed me. Blue sent a sub to Rich. Oh, that was sweet. Thank you, Blue. It showed. Okay. When I click this button, I only see Rich's comments. Do you only see Rich's comments on TikTok when I click the button? And I'm going to click everyone's again. Now I've got everybody's. Do you only see Rich, or is it just for me that I see the person's comments? Okay, so it's just me. Oh, okay. It allows me to basically click and see the comments from those people. Now, I'm not quite sure why. I'm not sure what the advantage is there. Maybe Callum or somebody who's giving me military advice or something. You know what I mean? For monitoring, but it's interesting. Yeah, interesting. Thank you, Michael. Or Michael and Rock subscribed, which makes me think maybe somebody bought them a gift membership. Thank you. Blue, thank you, Blue. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, well, that's kind of fun. Okay. It's kind of, I'm still not sure what to do with it, but it's interesting. Yay, Michael got a sub. Good job, Michael. We'll see you Saturday morning if you're around. 10:30 Chicago time, 11:30 New York or DC time. I'll do my special show. And we've got the debate next week. Remember, the presidential debate we're going to watch Tuesday night together. I may have to turn it away from my TV because TikTok and YouTube get a little weird about copyright and stuff, but we can be here and sort of talk about it. I'm sure it'll be better than the last debate. That was a disaster. We're going to have a sub-only debate. Correct. Yes. Because I've got to do more, because since I've been so busy with the estate, I haven't been able to do the private shows during the day. So I want to do some of that kind of stuff, basically, to give just a few more gifts to the subscribers, so to speak. I don't know what time is it at, guys? Is it 8 or 9 p.m.? Somebody want to Google what time is the? I don't want to use my Alexa here. What time is the presidential debate on September 10th? A favorite language, it's probably French. I love Italian. My Italian is a bit rusty now, so it's harder for me to speak Italian. French, I really do love French. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Yeah, so probably French. Yeah, but I do love it. Spanish is fun too. I love speaking Spanish, but Italian is a lot of fun, and French because I'm very buonasera. But because I'm so fluent in French, it's also easy. Whereas my Italian, I'd still say I've got a fluency in Italian. It's just very rusty. But my French is, knock on wood, I hope still not rusty. I do have to practice it more because it's been 10 years since I've been to France. I can't let my French. I mean, I'm super fluent in French. I can't let my French slip away. Ciao bella, exactly. Favorite accent? Uh, that could be Italian. Probably is Italian. And when it comes to foreign accents, yeah, I think it's Italian. Very much so. Oh, you lost your Italian from childhood. I don't get to use my French. Spanish, I use all the time. Like in Washington, where I live, there's lots of Latinos. I get to use it a lot. Here in Chicago, my mom's got some guys who cut the lawn. They're Mexican, or Mexican American. So for them, I've often found, like, basically, when I've got questions or things, I say, I always ask, I go, hey, and I go, do you speak English? And if they hesitate, then I switch to Spanish because my Spanish is fluent. But I always go, and sometimes they go, a little, and then I'm like, okay, hablo español. And they're like, oh, okay, bueno. And then we just do Spanish, and it's great. Scottish accents are pretty good. I know. I do need to go back to France. I know. I need an accent. I need a vacation anyway. So thank you, Cracker, for the hearts. Your grandparents spoke Italian all the time. Oh, that's fun. I like the sound of German, though. I've always been intrigued by German. But there's no point in me learning German. What am I going to do with German? Bolivian Spanish is slow and measured. I find Mexican Spanish that way too. It's very clear, which I like. Spanish I find can be difficult because I learned it here in America. So here we learn Mexican or whatever, dialect or accents. It's cute because Mexican is a little sing-songy, but it's very easy to learn. It's very easy to understand. German sounds angry. Life is too short to learn German. That's actually kind of funny. Ukraine news. We already did Ukraine news. We did about 20 minutes of Ukraine news already. We can talk about specific Ukraine things that come up, though. Swahili was easy to pick up. That's fun. Well, Spanish, then you get to the rest of Latin America, and then it gets much more like, whoa, we've got cousins in Panama. That's like, whoa, right? Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico took me 3 days, and then I understood them. The first 3 days, I was like, wow. Vosotros, Castilian, yeah, I don't conjugate vosotros. No. I struggle a bit with Vlad. Vlad's got a strong accent. Our friend Vlad does have a strong Ukrainian accent. Yes, very much so. His English is excellent, but you're right, but the accent is strong. That is true. You like German being from Germany? Well, you never know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, I hate our language, I am not from Ukraine. I am from America, and my family is Greek. See, but the stupid bite from the mite is still, I can feel like at night, it's still itching me at night. It's like, God, this damn thing. It's been 3 or 4 weeks. Unbelievable. Colombians, yes. Colombians are great. Colombians speak a wonderful Spanish. Beautiful country. Just really, yeah, I loved visiting Colombia. Nice people. And I've known a lot of Colombians in Washington, D.C. Really nice people. Will Biden give more aid to Ukraine before he leaves? Yeah, there's more aid coming, possibly some long-range missiles. The problem is if Trump takes over, he can cut it all off. Peru, no. I've only been like to the boundary water. So I've stepped soil on Peru in the Amazon, but didn't see much. We saw some villages, but not really. I'd love to go to Peru. Yeah, Colombia is just wonderful. Is it possible Ukraine's planning to cut off the Russians in the Pokrovsk area? I mean, who knows? Let's hope to God they do, but I think a lot of people are worried about what's going on with the Russians taking land there. You know what I mean? So that'd be great, but I haven't seen anything of anybody saying the tide has turned other than the Ukrainians saying it's been 6 days and the Russians have not moved ahead, which is good. Where are you incredibly tired? You say, and visit us. Visit us where? Do I think Russia will take over in Africa? They're going to try. China too. Russia and China both making big inroads in Africa. Yeah. You were in Cartagena in the mid-70s. Wow. Will Putin do anything to Belarus? I don't think he's going to do anything to Belarus. I mean, he keeps trying to use Belarus to at least scare the Ukrainians. So the Ukrainians feel like they've got to go and 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 put troops along the Belarusian border, things like that. I don't know where is that Mexico? Huancayo. Where's Huancayo? Hold on. Look. Oh, it's in Peru. Oh, I didn't know that. I have not heard of Huancayo, or Huancayo, as the Argentines might say. I've never heard of it. Wow. I'll let you know if I come, because I've been dying to go to Peru. Of course, Machu Picchu, of course. And I like Peruvians. The Peruvians I've met in the States I've always liked. They're nice people. Aymara. I don't even remember Aymara. I hate to say it, but I assume it's one of the like the native groups, like the Indian groups, an Indian. I mean, not Indian, but the whatever the hell they're called in South America now. Have I been to every continent? Well, not every. Antarctica, but I haven't been to Australia either, if that's a continent. I always forget. Well, because some people think there's 5, some people think there's 7. But I mean, Europe, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, but not Australia and not Antarctica. You're a continent? Okay. I don't want. Well, no, I remember growing up, and sometimes they count 5, sometimes they counted 7 when I was growing up. So I was never actually. I laugh because I think I told you guys this once when I was helping my nephew with his science paper, his science exam. He had a quiz he had to take home or something, homework, and he was asking my help on it. It was simple stuff, and he got to one. I was like, oh, how many this, how many that, how many planets in the solar system? And I went, well, because this is probably 20 years ago. I was like, well, it kind of depends. There might be 8, there might be 9. Uncle John, I just have to pick 7, 8, or 9. And I'm like, it's not that easy. And I told him, I said, put 9. I think I said, put 9, but you have to write a little star and say, many people think Pluto is no longer a planet. I said, otherwise she's going to give you a wrong answer. But it was great with him. Like, Uncle John, just give me the answer. Is it 8 or 9? And I'm like, it's not quite either. This was when they were punishing Pluto. And now Pluto is like, what is it? A junior planet? What do they call it? A mini planet or something? I feel very badly about what they did to Pluto. It bothers me. But it made it very difficult to help my nephew with his homework. So, Australia is our Pluto. A dwarf planet? Okay, I remember it being a dwarf planet. I remember it being a smaller thing, right? And now we have justice for Pluto. Exactly. That would be a great T-shirt. Justice for Pluto would be a great T-shirt. I'm sure they must have had it at one point. That's a great idea. Favorite place I've lived? I mean, I haven't lived in that many places. I mean, I lived in Argentina for several months working there. I loved it. Lived in Paris, loved it. Lived in Greece, liked it. And then in the US, I've lived in, Chicago area or Illinois, Washington, D.C., New York. Like New York a lot. Hate Washington, D.C. Like Chicago. But I have been to Italy. I've never lived in Italy. I have been to Italy a lot and adore Italy. Italy really is my favorite place on the planet. It really is. I mean, I love France because Paris to me is like a second home because I've studied there. I worked there. But I mean, I didn't live in Europe very long in a way. I studied in France for a year. I worked in Paris for a summer. And that's it for, well, I mean, I was in Greece for 4 months, kind of living with relatives to learn Greek. So but I've been there a lot, but I haven't lived there other than that. So Paris is the only one I've really lived in, long term. Sardinia, I've never been in Sardinia. No, I've always wanted to go. I don't know who Alan Lichtman is. Is he the historian with the 9 out of 10? I saw it, but I didn't get to read it. Is that who you're talking about? Let me see. I'm going to guess that's who you're talking about. The historian who's gotten like 9 out of the 10, 9 out of 10 predictions right on the presidential. Oh, the vet's calling me. Don't call me vet. You better not be calling me. The vet's office is calling me. They better not be calling to change the appointment for tomorrow. I want to kill him. Let me see what his little prediction was. Let's see. What did he say? He says Kamala Harris will win. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. This is from The Guardian. Hang on. Alan Lichtman, the historian dubbed the Nostradamus of U.S. presidential elections, has predicted that Kamala Harris will win the White House in November's poll, having previously warned the Democrats of the dangers of removing Joe Biden from the ticket. I watched him talk about this. He was talking about how Joe Biden had like 3 of the advantages of incumbency and other stuff that you were getting rid of if you removed him, so he was worried about removing him. Lichtman nevertheless forecast that the vice president, who became the party's nominee, would be elected. In a video for the New York Times, he said Harris was on course to beat Trump, even though the Democrats had effectively surrendered the valuable key of presidential incumbency. Kamala Harris will be the next president of the U.S. At least that's my prediction for the outcome. What's he saying here? He was vociferous about not reporting her. Oh, here we go. Nevertheless, of the 13 keys, he looks at these 13 keys, 13 issues or factors or variables to decide who's going to win. He found 8 favored Harris, who he said gained from the absence of a strong third-party candidate following the demise of R.F. Kennedy's campaign, positive short and long-term economic indicators, major legislative achievements enacted by Biden, absence of social unrest or scandal attached to the White House, true. She was also favored in not having to undergo a party nomination battle to succeed Biden. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so since she didn't have a bruising nomination battle, it wasn't like all the other Democrats beat up on her. Interesting. Yeah. So it said, what, 9 of the last 10 he got right. I mean, I heard about it, but I kind of missed it because it happened right before the show, and I went, okay. Well, that's interesting. Wow. Well, good for her. Oh, Gemeinschaft. That almost sounds familiar, Gemeinschaft. Gemeinschaftsraumschlüssel. Germans with their words. The Germans have got to make long words. No, we're gonna keep doing Ukraine after the election. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. Yeah. As long as the war is going on, we'll keep doing Ukraine. I know it should be big news that the Russians donated $10 million to bribe conservative media, but what you doing, dog? But it's news. Let's see if it's big news. Knowing this country, it's just like Donald Trump's people roughing up the staff of the National Cemetery. It became like a non-story. Any other candidate, it would have been the end of their career, All right, see you, adventures. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, I may call it quits early. Make a little dinner. The dog's fine. I mean, she liked it here. When my mom was here, there were more people here. My mom's dog died last year, so my mom's dog was even though kind of drove my dog nuts. I think she was very jealous of her. It was still another dog to run around with and be. So it's a little quiet now. Well, it's quiet in DC anyway. But usually my mom's house was a much louder place with people coming through, and she doesn't quite have that anymore, so she's doing fine though. I mean, it's a big house. So I think she likes the yard. We're right by the park. I mean, she's got a yard here too. So she's got a lot of benefits. Oh, that's funny. You ran into Ukrainians wearing the go F yourself stamp. That's funny. Tim Poole says he's a victim. Yeah, he's a victim that was getting $400,000 a month, if in fact that's the case. Do I think I'll stay in DC? God, I hope not. But I've been stuck there so long. I've got to find somewhere else to live. I just don't like it there. Thank you, Ernie. It's not safe. I find it a mean town. People aren't very nice. It's not safe. The taxes are too high. It's everything about it I just don't like. It's definitely not safe. Texas? Yeah. I'm not sure I'm in the mood for Texas, to be honest. It's kind of like Florida, kind of got ruined for me by the crazy people. Hey, Ernie and Soul. Oh, the dog is meandering. I'm gonna have to take her out soon anyway. What you doing, dog? What are you doing? What are you doing, huh? Oh, She's walking around. I may actually have to take the dog out soon. She's kind of making noises. My dog is very subtle about having to go out. It's like this little, it's never like she's making noises. I'm going to take her out, guys. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Denver, I know, who knows? I'll join Marion in Denver. You never know. All right, guys, let me go. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for joining us. We have coyotes. I can't leave the door open, Danon. But we have coyotes in the Chicago suburbs. It's crazy, but we do. They eat dogs. They ate one of our cousins' little Yorkie. They ate. Horrible. All right, I'm gonna go, guys. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, and join us Saturday morning. Remember. All right, bye, guys. Got to go rescue the dog.